Hi, my name is Mark Caffrey and I'm the CEO of Syntropic Medical. And at Syntropic Medical, we are developing a science-backed, light-based treatment for major depressive disorder. Depression is a major problem in modern society. I don't think I really need to go through that in detail with you. In the US alone, 21 million people every year will have a major depressive episode. And in their lifetime, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men will be diagnosed with major depressive disorder. That is a huge number, and every year contributes a cost of over $300 billion to the US economy. Now, if we start to look at treatments in this space, we all think of the traditional antidepressants. But did you know that the best-in-class antidepressant was released in 1991? That was over 30 years ago. And its remission rates are less than 50%. Unfortunately, the treatment options in this space are just nowhere near good enough. And all they are doing is targeting symptoms rather than targeting the root causes of depression, the underlying reasons why depression develops in the first place. And that's where Syntropic comes at this from a completely different approach, both from how we think about depression and also mechanistically, what is it that we are targeting when we try to treat it. So we look at this differently. What we do is actually alter the circuits in your brain and the way that they are connected. So if you imagine my fist is a neuron, every time that you learn something new or that you form new memories, one neuron connects to another neuron and they'll form physical connections. Now, when you're young, this happens very, very easily. They quite rapidly form new connections. You learn very fast. However, what happens when your brain essentially matures is you get a coating that forms around your neurons, or like a blanket, essentially. Now, this is fantastic because in general, it is a protective structure that prevents toxicity or damage to your neurons. However, in specific cases, particularly in psychiatric disorders, this is a major limiting factor to your brain's ability to heal itself, particularly if the issue is around your brain's circuits and the way they are wired. If we think about depression, what happens is you get in these negative feedback loops of negative thoughts. And these reinforce themselves. Your neurons begin to connect, they keep getting used, they keep getting stronger, and you get this maladaptive cycle of negative thoughts in the brain. And it's almost impossible for us to break that loop with current solutions. However, this is where Syntropic comes in. What we discovered is we can specifically activate a cell in the brain called a microglial cell. And we can tell it to go and strip that coating off of the neurons temporarily, just for long enough that it allows the rewiring to begin to happen. It allows for fresh neurons to begin growing all around in these circuits. And what happens is when you begin to form all of these new fresh connections, the negative ones drop off, as there is only so many connections that a neuron will hold. So essentially, these microglial cells stripping this coating result in a resetting of these brain circuits and allowing fresh, more positive connections to begin to form. And what we've seen in our preclinical work has been incredibly positive results, matching and even outperforming those antidepressants that I mentioned before, without any side effects, without an invasive therapy, and without any of the other problems that you traditionally associate with antidepressants. And so what is it that we use to do this? It's actually an incredibly elegant device. We use a headset-like device. You can think of it like a pair of ski goggles almost, that stimulates the brain using light. We can pulse light into the eyes at a specific frequency, which is what activates these cells in the brain. The brain will mimic the frequency of the light that we deliver, which the cells are then sensitive to and go and do the job that we need them to do. So it is a non-invasive, non-pharmaceutical, and low-cost option to treating depression that treats the underlying causes rather than managing symptoms. Now, in the last year, we've made incredible progress. In just 12 months, we've brought this from basic research idea stage right up to clinical stage. We've completed our first work in humans. We've secured almost 2 million in funding. We've built an outstanding advisory board, including some huge names, including the global head of strategic partnerships at Novartis and the head of neuromodulation at NYU Langone Health. So our trajectory has been incredibly impressive. And this year, we will do our first studies in patients in Brazil. and we'll open up our next funding round